Hi TCC, my name is Christina and I'm going to be leading you through some gentle yoga today. So if you'd like to follow along, just make sure that you're wearing something comfortable. You want to have your mat if you have one. If not, that's okay too. Just make sure you're not on a surface that's slippery. And then if you have a blanket, that may also come in handy as well. So this class will be about 30 minutes long, and I just want everybody to be aware, it's really important that you know that as I invite you to do a pose, you get to make the choice of whether or not that pose is right for you. So I certainly don't want anybody to hurt themselves. Please don't do a pose that causes any pain or discomfort. You know your body, listen to your body, and do what's right for you. Please don't do any poses that don't feel right. And with that said, we'll go ahead and get started. So we are going to start on the floor. So you will come down to the ground. We're going to sit crisscross. So we're going to have our legs crossed in front of us. And this is where a blanket might feel more comfortable, propped under your bottom. This will also help give you a little bit more lift. We want to be open here. So we want our shoulders down on our back. We want our chest open, heart towards the sky. We really don't want to be hunched over, curled up. We're trying to open up here and lift. You can place your palms gently on your knees or palms open, whatever feels more comfortable to you. And I invite you to close your eyes here. We're going to just check in with ourselves. So bring your attention to your breath. Notice the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe in and breathe out. Try to deepen your breath here. So take a nice deep breath in and a nice deep breath out. With each inhale, I want you to imagine that the air is filled with peace and calm, or strength, whatever you may need today. And with each exhale, I want you to allow yourself to let go. Letting go of any tension that may be in the body, any stress, doubt, whatever's holding you back. And let your breath be your guide through this practice. Take another deep inhale, and as you exhale, go ahead and open your eyes. So bring your fingertips to the mat here. Make sure that we're still sitting up nice and straight. And on your next inhale, we are going to lift our right arm up into the air, and then we are going to gently lean to the left, feeling a nice stretch here through the side of our body. You want your chest again to be open, so we don't want to be collapsed like this. We want to be nice and open. You can look under your arm here up towards the ceiling if that feels right. You can also use the mat, use your left fingertips to push down into the mat in order to get a little bit more of a stretch on that right side of the body. Take a nice big inhale, and on your exhale, go ahead and lower the arm back down to the mat, fingertips on the mat. On the next inhale, let's raise that arm up into the air and lean to the right this time. With each inhale, we are expanding. And on the next inhale, go ahead and get ready to let the arm down with an exhale. We're going to do a few shoulder shrugs, so just bring your shoulders up towards your ears, and as you exhale, go ahead and release. Again, shrug the shoulders up towards the ears and slowly bring your shoulders back and down as you relax. Do a few shoulder rolls, bringing the shoulders up and back and down. We tend to hold a lot of stress in our shoulders, so doing a few shoulder rolls throughout the day, shoulder shrugs can really help to just release some of that tension and help us to loosen up. So let's go ahead and bring our legs in front of us. Just sort of shake the legs out here. Maybe point and flex the toes, the feet. Maybe rolling the ankles if that feels good. And we're gonna come up into tabletop pose. So I want you to just bring your feet to your right, and we're gonna lift our hips up, bringing your hands over to our mats so that we are coming up into a tabletop pose, however you can get here. And you wanna have your hands right under your shoulders, and you want to have your knees right under your hips. Tops of the feet on the mat. Go ahead and get some movement here. Sway the hips side to side. And then coming back to center. So when you're in tabletop, it's really going to help to support the wrists more if you push down into the mat. So you want to have your fingers spread. You really want to have your hands firmly planted. So really be pushing down through the knuckles, through the entire palm and fingers, energetically pushing away from the earth in order to help those wrists out. You also want to be energetically pushing down through the tops of the feet and the legs so that you're really engaged in this pose. And we're going to do a few cat and cows. So in order to do that, you're going to start by taking a breath in as you draw the belly down, bringing the heart towards the top of the mat and beginning to lift the head with your gaze straight ahead, or you can just look to the top of your mat if that's more comfortable. And on the exhale, you're going to bring your chin into chest and begin to gently round the spine here. So you're bringing your belly up and you're rounding out the spine. And continue to move through this pose with your breath being the guide. You should really be feeling a nice stretch through the spine. And then come on back to center. We're going to come into a child's pose. So we do that by bringing our big toes together, widening out the knees, and bringing our hips down to our heels. Here we can put our forehead down on the mat. You can even roll the forehead side to side, giving yourself a nice little massage. This is a resting pose, and so you can come to this pose at any point during the class if it feels nice, and give yourself a rest. So we're going to make our way back to hands and knees. And we're going to come up into downward dog. So in order to do that, you're going to curl your toes under, and you really want to lead with your hips here. So you're going to lift your hips up into the air, and you want your chest to still be nice and open, but you want to be bringing your chest down towards the mat. Your legs don't have to be straight. Your heels don't have to be touching the floor. If you're feeling a nice good stretch here, you are doing it right. You may want to pedal the heels here. And we're gonna come into a lunge. So what we're gonna do is bring the knee into the chest, finding your foot onto the mat between your hands. So however you want to gently get your foot right between the hands, that's where we want to be. And we're going to lower the knee here. So to better support your knee, if you need, you can put a blanket right under your knee. You can also fold the mat if you're on a mat. A couple options there if you need it. And we're going to come up onto our fingertips. We're going to bring our hands to our hips. So here you really want to make sure that your knee is in line with your ankle. You don't want your knee extending beyond the ankle. You also want your hips to be lined up. So if you need to use your right fingertips to draw that hip back, go ahead and do so. You want to try to find some nice stability in this pose. And if you do feel pretty stable, you could even try to lift the arms up into the air. But if you want a bit more stability, just keep them right on your hips. Continue to breathe through the pose. And on your next exhale, go ahead and lower the hands back down to either side of the foot. We're going to come up into a runner's lunge, so you're going to lift that knee up off the ground. And you want to find some length here, so really stretch through the body, through the crown of the head, all the way out through that back heel. And then when you're ready, go ahead, lower the palms to the floor, and get that foot back to the back of the mat. Let's come into another child's pose real quick. So bring the knees down, bring the big toes together. Go ahead and lower the hips. Maybe roll the wrists out if that feels good. And then go ahead and come on back up. We're going to come back into downward dog. So from tabletop, we're going to curl those toes under, and we are going to lift from the hips. And we're going to bring the left foot into a lunge this time. So go ahead and bring the knee towards the chest and gently get that foot between the hands. We're going to lower the knee again, so if you need to grab that blanket, go right ahead. Again, make sure that the knee is lined up with the ankle. And once you're ready, come on up. Hands to the hips. Pull that hip back if you need to with your fingertips to get your hips aligned. They should be pointed forward. Finding your breath, lifting the arms if you'd like. Lifting the heart towards the ceiling. And when you're ready, lowering the hands back down to the mat. Curl the toes under and go ahead and come up into that runner's lunge. Finding some length again, really feeling a nice stretch in that hip flexor. Lower your hands to the mat and go ahead and bring the foot to join the other foot at the end of your mat. From here, we are going to gently walk your feet towards your hands. And we're going to come into a forward fold. So you can really bend your knees a lot here if you need to in order to come to the ground or close to the floor. And from here, what we're going to do, and again, keep your knees bent if you need to. You can grab your elbows, and we're just going to very gently sway. Bring your palms to your shins and then try to straighten the spine out. And when you're ready, bring those hands to your thighs. Take a nice big inhale as you begin to lift up, bringing your arms up towards the sky. And on your exhale, lowering the arms down. Go ahead and turn to face me. I'm going to turn to face you and you can join me. We're going to come into what's called Tadasana or mountain pose. So really, we're just trying to really root down through our feet in this pose so you can have your feet hip width apart is where I like to keep them, or if you would like to bring them closer together, that's an option as well. You want to make sure that you're really rooting down, pressing firmly into the mat through all four corners of the feet. And you're going to bring your arms down by your side, palms facing forward. You want to have your heart lifting towards the sky. You're trying to find length in this pose. You want your pelvis to be neutral, so you don't want to be sticking your pelvis out or really tucking it under. You want it to just be kind of nice and neutral here. The shoulders should be relaxed. We're going to try a balance pose. So we're going to try what's called tree pose. So in order to get ready to do that, we're going to start with our right leg. And you want to start to shift the weight onto the right foot. So you're almost going to kind of lean and shift that weight onto the right foot. And once you're ready, you're going to start to lift the left heel off the floor. And you can start to experiment a bit by lifting your toes off the floor, balancing on that right foot. And so if this is enough of experimenting with balance today, then that's perfectly all right. You can stay experimenting with this, or another option will be to bring the foot to the ankle. Another option would be to bring the foot between the knee and the ankle, and then a third option would be to grab the ankle with the left hand and place the foot right on the inner thigh. You do not want to have the foot pushing against the knee, so you've got to choose either above or below the knee, whatever feels right for you today. And once you're here, you really want to engage the foot and the thigh here or wherever you are. So really push the foot into the thigh and the thigh back into the foot to help find some stability. Also, to help with your balance, it's going to be helpful to find something in the room, something that's not moving, to fix your gaze on. That's going to help you to maintain your balance and your stability. You've got your hands on your hips here, and if you would like, you can lift your arms up into the air, into any pose that feels comfortable. You can have them right overhead. You could bring your palms together in front of your chest. You could be doing cactus pose, whatever you want to do, but that is going to make balancing a little bit harder. So you don't want to compromise your stability or the lift in your chest or the length that you're finding through the crown of your head. So if keeping your hands on your hips is going to be better, then stick with that. Also, if you fall or have fallen out of the pose, that's okay. It happens to all of us. You can either find your way back into the pose, or you can just wait until we switch to the other leg. So go ahead and take one last deep breath here. And as you exhale, go ahead and lower the foot back down to the mat. Nice work. We're going to come back into that mountain pose. So you want to draw the shoulders back, have the palms facing forward, arms down by the side. You got your both feet firmly planted into the floor here now. Rooting down, lifting through the crown of the head. Notice if the left leg feels any different from the right. And we're going to get ready to try the other side. So begin by starting to shift your weight into the left foot this time. So maybe even kind of lean a little bit, and you are starting to shift that weight onto the left leg. As you do so, you're gonna lift the right heel off the floor. Start to see how it feels to lift those toes. And once you feel like you've gotten some balance, you're gonna go ahead, and again, the choices are, you can bring your foot gently onto the ankle, between the ankle and the knee, or right above the knee. Go ahead and clasp your ankle, bringing the foot to meet the inner thigh. You, again, do not want that foot on the knee. Once you've found a position that you're comfortable with, go ahead and bring your hands to your hips. Root down through the foot, lift through the crown of the head. You're pushing the foot onto the leg and the leg into the foot. If you feel like you are able to, you can gently lift the arms into any position that feels good to you. Remember to try to fix your gaze onto an object or something that's in front of you. And remember to breathe. So often when we are in a pose, we may forget that we're supposed to be breathing, and you might be holding your breath. So make sure that you're still connected to that breath here. And go ahead, when you're ready, bring the hands back to the hips if you need to. And on your next exhale, go ahead and gently return the foot back down to the earth. Coming back one last time to that mountain pose. Notice if this feels any different than the first mountain pose that you did. When you're ready, we are going to lift the arms up into the air with our next inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to gently soar our hands down to the floor as we come into a forward fold. Again, bending our knees as much as we need to. We'll slowly widen the feet and come into a squat if that feels okay. Try to find some lift and openness in the chest, possibly even bringing the hands together in front of the chest. And we're going to lower onto our bottoms here. So carefully come have a seat on your bottom. We're actually going to turn and we are going to come into a boat pose here. So what we're going to do is engage our core with a little bit of core work before we end. We are coming to just a few poses that are left, so we're getting there. But before we wind down, we're going to do one last exercise to engage our core. We're going to keep our put our arms down by our sides with our palms facing up. You have your knees bent here. So you have a couple choices. You can leave the knees bent and maybe keep the toes on the mat for a little more stability and a little bit less of a challenge. Still challenging though, and you're going to lift that chest and feel and engage your core here. Another option is to lift the toes and keep the knees bent like this. A third option would be to extend the legs if you'd like and lower the chest just a bit. So whatever feels right for you, we're going to take a few deep breaths here, keeping that chest open, that heart lifting. Still connecting with your breath here. So this is a really easy pose to hold that breath. We want to be breathing through this. Good job. And go ahead and bring the feet back down to the mat if you need to, and we're going to go ahead and bring those hands back down to the mat, and we're going to come onto our backs here. So go ahead and carefully lower yourself down onto your back. You can go ahead and keep the legs bent because we're going to draw the knees into our chest. We're going to give ourselves a hug, and if it feels good, you can gently rock side to side, giving yourself a nice massage on your back. Go ahead and bring the feet back down to the mat. We are going to do a little bit of a twist. So go ahead and bring your arms out by your side, perpendicular to your mat. You're going to keep the legs bent, the knees pointing towards the sky, the feet flat on the mat. And we're just going to sway our knees side to side like windshield wipers. Gently twisting side to side here. You're going to keep your shoulders on the mat. They should not be lifting. This should just be a bit of a gentle twist. And as you're ready, we're going to come back to center. We're going to start to extend our legs down onto the mat. We're coming into our final pose here, or what's called Shavasana. So if you'd like, you can take your blanket if you have it and put it under your head if that feels good. You could even wrap yourself in the blanket if you want to get nice and cozy, but here you are just allowing yourself to rest. You want your body to melt into the floor. So you're going to have your arms down by your side, palms open. You can allow your feet to gently fall open to the side. You're not doing any work here. This final pose is really just all about letting go. So I want you to take a nice big deep inhale. And as you exhale, let out a nice big sigh. Do a body scan. And if you notice any tension anywhere in the body, try to soften it. Bring your attention to your face. Soften the brows. Relax the jaw. As you inhale, try to relax the body. As you exhale, allow any tension to make its way out through the fingertips, down your body, and out through the toes. If you start to have any distracting thoughts, allow those to let go as well. Watch them float up and away, drifting like clouds in the sky. Here you are just being still, doing nothing, and letting go. You can rest here for as long as you would like. Thank you very much for following along with me today. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Namaste.